Donald Trump is having a terrible Wednesday morning. He's panicking that the Republican Party is leaving him. He's been making posts that the Republican Party should now be called the T-Republicans or the Republicans, and he says that you better not leave me. He's also been ranting and raving about this New York Times article that talks about how exhausted he's been recently, how he starts his day at 12:08 p.m. And he made a post where he calls the female reporter from the New York Times ugly on the inside and the outside. So last week he called a female reporter piggy. Today he's calling a female New York Times reporter ugly. I think you get the pattern here. And while he's on a golf course right now in West Palm Beach in Florida on the taxpayer dime, that's what he's doing right now. He's making post after post after post like this as the American people are struggling and are excited to see their families and to have a little bit of a rest on Thanksgiving. This is the messaging coming from Donald Trump. If the entire Republican Party does not stand united behind Trump right now, then there is absolutely no reason to have a Republican Party. He then posts, there is a new word for a Trump Republican, which is almost everyone. Great policy is the key. It is T-Publican or T-Publican. Then he posts these images of himself holding a sword, and it says Slayer of the Deep State. Then there's another image of a sword with QAnon messaging on the side that says time to obliterate the deep state. And again, QAnon is an actual death cult, and he's posting QAnon memes over and over again. He then posts this image of himself, and it says, thank you, President Trump. This is what he's posting about himself. We got everything we have voted for, just 1,000 times better. The next post he goes, we'll realize all the personal sacrifices this man made to save not just America, but the world. And then there's another post that says, congratulations, world. It's time for peace. And this is as your aide, Steve Witkoff, is seemingly serving as an agent of Russia to undermine and destroy Ukraine. This is as you laundered a 28-point Russian plan of surrender and you tried to force it upon Ukraine. And fortunately, the European allies of Ukraine stood shoulder to shoulder with Ukraine, but you took the Russian position and just took the plan and served it over. We've been showing the Bloomberg recording, the transcript, where you had Witkoff on the phone with Russia's kind of top aides, and they were just like mocking Ukraine and we're going to take your plan and we're going to force it on Zelensky. What a horrific thing that took place, and great reporting by Bloomberg that got that audio recording. So here is the post where Donald Trump attacks the reporter, Katie Rogers, and he says that she's assigned to write bad things about me. And then he says that she's third rate. She is ugly, both inside and out. And then he goes on and says that he settled 8 wars, which we know he didn't. And he claims that he's brought down prices to normal right now. And he says grocery prices are great. They're coming down, but this requires a lot of work and energy, he says. And then he says, make America great again, exclamation point. If you want to know what his focus has been on, it certainly hasn't been bringing down the price of things, because we all know when we leave our homes, or if we're in our homes and we're going online to look at things that we need to buy, everything is more expensive. Inflation is rising. Trump and his regime of fascists and liars can tell us all they want that things are cheaper. We know they're not cheaper. We know they're more expensive. But what's Trump's priorities? Trump now wants to make that golden ballroom bigger. But even the architect, James McCreary, disagrees. McCreary says it's big enough. You shouldn't make it bigger. But Trump wants it to be much bigger than what, the 90,000 square feet that it already is, or the 100,000 square feet that it already is. It's already bigger than the White House. What are we doing here, folks? And why do we have golden ballrooms? And why is that his focus? And why did he tear down the East Wing? And I did lots of reports on this as well about the asbestos implications, because that East Wing had asbestos in it. And a lot of the workers, I think, were exposed to very deadly asbestos. And I think that will be a story that we'll start hearing more about in the coming years, unfortunately. So as Donald Trump wants to say, everything is great. Well, they're rolling out a new bailout package for farmers because Trump's trade war against the world has bankrupted farmers. They say that they will be offering $12 billion in emergency aid for farmers hurt by tariffs. So $40 billion goes to Argentina. Then Argentina sells their soybeans to China to then undercut our farmers. And then our farmers get a $12 billion bailout. $40 billion bailout to Argentina for you to screw our farmers. Then our farmers get a $12 billion bailout. And by the way, and I think this is a great point by this one account, the complete and utter silence in the media over the farm bailout as compared to the outrage when Biden tried to do broad-based student loan forgiveness tells you all you need to know about the current state of journalism in America. Forget journalism, the current state of America. Remember, all the right-wing groups said, how dare you give student loan forgiveness to individuals who were making like $75,000 or less. There was another package for people making $125,000. It was very targeted and surgical in its student debt forgiveness. Oh my God, that's communism, that's socialism. Right now, by the way, student debt defaults are at record highs. And the problem with that there's a lot of problems with that. But also, if you, let's just say you don't like the idea of student debt forgiveness, which by the way, I like the idea of it, but let's just say you didn't like the idea of it, okay? Now this whole group of people, 6, 7, 8 million people now have terrible credit. And because they have bad credit, they can't buy homes, they can't get cars, they can't get loans. They have to have co-signers if they can find one. That impacts the whole economy and it ultimately impacts everybody. That's the thing we have to think about. The holistic, systemic, and the America's so freaking selfish sometimes under these Trump regime people all the time. So here's Brooke Rollins and here's what she's got to say. And then she, of course, says, it's just a bridge. This is a bridge, she says. Here, play this clip.
Programs. Now, again, another conversation for another time. We're reforming SNAP. That program is completely out of control. But what we can do is pivot a lot of that money to healthier, locally produced protein like beef and chicken and pork and the fruits you just mentioned. So more coming on that early next year as we begin to shift how we're buying food and really supporting the American farmers. But to your point, the farm economy, we do have a package, a bridge package we're finalizing. I was with Secretary Bessent yesterday over at the Treasury Department, sort of figuring out exactly what that's going to look like as we're getting new data in every day. So that announcement will come next week. Again, it's just a bridge to get us to next year for the president's promise that he wasn't going to leave any of our farmers behind. But we're building that out, finalizing it as we speak, and we'll talk about it more next week.
You ever notice how scams get weirder every year? The other day, I got a text saying my cloud storage was leaking into the neighborhood. No link, no explanation. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But look, that's why you've got to know the red flags, and it's why having real protection on your money matters. So let's talk about something that actually keeps you safe. Your security deserves to be a priority, and Cash App treats it that way. With Security Lock, Cash App requires a successful Face ID or biometric authentication to access your account. It's like your money is protected by your own personal bodyguard, even if your phone is lost or stolen. Plus, if you're about to send money to someone new and Cash App notices something looks a bit off or that you might be falling for a scam, it will send you a warning before the money is sent to confirm that everything looks right. Turn on Security Lock in your Cash App settings today and pay attention to scam warnings to keep your money safe. Learn more at cash.app/security. And here's the part you're going to want to remember. For a limited time, new Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use code SECURE10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sudden Bank, member FDIC. Discounts and promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
And then Brooke Rollins, the agriculture secretary for Trump, then blames everything on Biden. Oh, we have to do this because it's Biden's fault. Stop blaming Biden. You're in charge, okay? We're basically a year in. It's just so pathetic that everything, Biden. Come on. be quiet. Here, play this clip.
That's crazy, $10 a pound for beef.
Well, and listen, I have not met him. Obviously, he is a very impressive, and I actually making a note to myself to get in touch with him. Our numbers are not showing that, and to your point, beef is an outlier. We have the lowest cattle herd in 75 years. This isn't just in America; it's around the world, and there's a lot of reason for that. I mean, the Biden-Harris administration had a war on cattle because they talked about climate change, and cattle. It was crazy, and then we've had a screwworm issue south of the border, so our ports have been closed.
Now, here is the National Economic Advisor, Kevin Hassett. Here's what he's been saying over and over again. He's like, why are people criticizing Walmart for putting out this year's list with generic brands and less items than under former President Biden's list, which had more items and brand names? How dare you say that the American people don't like generic brands? You're so out of touch. This is what sociopaths do in their arguments. You're not addressing the issue. The issue is that the price of things is more. It's not about generic brands or not generic brands. Under Biden, there was more items on the list, and they used brand names. Now they're trying to find ways to say that things are less expensive, so they're using less items. That's the only point that's being made here. And it gives you an insight into people like Hassett and Trump about how low they think of their audience, that they're like going to try to trick them with this stuff. Play this clip.
Favorite moments on a Sunday show for me last week was on one of the Sunday shows. You can look it up. I won't attack the poor fellow that was the anchor. He criticized the fact that Walmart said that the Thanksgiving dinner is cheaper by, I think it was about $10 for a typical Thanksgiving dinner. And then he said, oh, yeah, but they substituted generic stuff, as if like having a generic something is a crime for ordinary folks. It shows how out of touch these people are. I get generics
it's so
all the
silly.
time. I'm just saying.
So
Well, all of this is taking place. If you were watching Fox this morning, which you shouldn't do, although we have to do that here, and others like Rupar do it as well, because we have to report what the propaganda looks like. You saw this ad right here of Kristi Noem, who we now know from the recent court filings, she was the one who defied the court's order directly in D.C. and said that the migrants needed to go to the concentration camp in El Salvador. Play this clip.
Why do I love these wide open spaces? They remind me of why our forefathers.
Also, we're learning that right now, our state parks will be charging $100 plus in price hikes. That will be for international tourists. So national parks announced an America First fee surge for international tourists. As Carl Quintanilla says, rolling out the welcome mat like a pro. And do you just realize how idiotic this regime is? While our tourism in the United States is suffering because people are afraid to show up and get detained by ICE. People don't like that Donald Trump is attacking the sovereignty of their countries. People see how dangerous it is under the Trump regime here. So tourism is suffering. So your decision is to increase the price for foreign tourists to visit American national parks. Like, it's just that, like, everything these people do is like the dumbest thing imaginable. Then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, criticizing these MAGA Republican men. She's like, typical Republican men telling a woman to shut up and get back in the kitchen and fix me something to eat. F you in the sweetest, most southern drawl I can enunciate. I have been trying to tell all you men that our kitchen pantry is empty with spider webs and our house has been ransacked. The windows and the doors are broken and busted, and the greedy rich bastards have twisted your minds into a sick state that you all continue. Attacking the Republican Party right there. One other data point I want to let you know about too. I'll do a whole other video on this. Tennessee's 7th Congressional District, which is a plus 20, plus 22 area for Trump. Right now, according to the new Emerson College poll, the Republican is only leading by 2 points there, and this could flip blue. Afton Bain is surging, the Democratic candidate against the MAGA Republican candidate, Matt Van Epps. Pay attention to Tennessee's 7th Congressional District, everybody. Lastly, I want to say this. The right-wing 11th Circuit Court of Appeals has upheld a $1 million penalty against Donald Trump and Alina Habba for their frivolous suit in the Hillary Clinton Comey DNC lawsuit that they filed. Remember, they filed this racketeering case several years ago, and then ultimately a federal judge not only dismissed it, but found very serious sanctions should be imposed against Alina Habba and Trump, over $1 million. And the Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit said absolutely. And they also said that Trump has a pattern of filing frivolous lawsuits, and they agreed with the district court's finding of that. There you have it. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thank you so much.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.